Hey there, Trump. Listen, thanks very much for your buying on this. So, what I'm aiming to do on this, I mean, clearly I'm not normally blessed with such good things to look at. There's some of the things where you see about 5 or 6 tanks and a couple of mortarmen I was telling you earlier about in attack and things along that sort of line, or people who don't realise if you actually upgrade your platoon, you get more people and things along that sort of line. So I'm looking at obviously Platoon Bravo. Obviously, I'm sure that's not what you normally fight with, but you know what I mean. You'd be looking at things like that, wouldn't you? You'd be checking. I mean, it would give you actually an idea of how they would attack, wouldn't it? I mean, you've got some good, great mortarmen here. Machine gunners doing well. Snipers I'll probably pick up in the next couple of pages. I can tell here, very much like myself, you've obviously gone down the PK route because you're a great believer in automatic fire, I imagine. And then, like myself, you've obviously gone down the IFV because you can build them up for 10 grand each. But if you notice people have got, say, 4 or 5 normal Humvees and not the Humvee IVF, then you can kind of guide them. You know what, mate? Don't build anymore. Use those crits for, obviously, upgrade rather than building, because you can buy an IFV. You don't need crits to make it where you do on the normal Humvee. So little tips like that you could obviously guide them on. Again, absolutely fantastic here. You've got obviously level 9 abs. You know what I mean. If people aren't obviously using them, you can guide them that way. I mean, you've even got obviously your second chopper in there as well. So obviously you've dedicated to that. I mean, observation here's a few different debates on this. I mean, your sniper might have come down when the flak obviously went down. You might be finding this good air defense because you haven't got the Zeus from what you're telling us earlier. Some people drop the Zeus into the first level attack, but what you spot here on a lot of people is they might have, say, 6 tanks for argument's sake in that first slot, or 500 bloody soldiers in that first slot, and they obviously don't come out for about an hour, and obviously by then everybody's gone home and packed up. So it's stuff like that you're trying to guide for. I mean, this is excellent if you look there in your war factory defence. I quite like that tank method as well. I mean, I know they're subject to baiting and things, but it takes a while, doesn't it? It takes more time. They have to move about, maybe run into a mine or two. I like that sort of method myself because I haven't got anything better possibly as well. But again, if you spotted somebody with 10 tanks in that first slot and they're coming out in 1 hour 56 minutes, then you're going to give them some guidance. I mean, you've got 14 seconds, 47 seconds, and 56 seconds. But you're probably not expecting that 56-second one to get out there. So it's things like that I'm looking for. I can tell usually their attack technique from here. I can usually tell the defense technique. I can tell what they've got obviously in the barracks, and I wouldn't necessarily do a video at this point. But my next step, I would actually go into their base, obviously as an enemy, and scout it, and use these screens first, and then obviously go back to the base, or even go do 2 videos. I don't really mind how they do it, as long as they do it. But as long as we discuss these sort of pages, as long as we obviously have some sort of understanding of what they're trying to achieve and which direction they're going to head in, because you can't tell that, I don't think, any other method. Obviously, knowing how much XP they've got, is useful as well. I haven't got that screen, to be fair, but obviously normally if I've got, say, a level 36 or something like that with, not much XP, I can try and manage that and maybe just concentrate on getting the Humvees upgraded or whatever it might be, the abs and things along that sort of line. So it's just a general understanding, a nice discussion like I'm having with you now, that I can load onto YouTube because I'm using my Mobizen app as I speak to you. I can scroll up and down, I can talk page by page, and then I can give some guidance, and then from that obviously I'll send that over and let them have a little look. Whether I combine, as I say, this page or these sets of pages with then a base assessment. I'll do a base assessment with you obviously as well as, again, I very much doubt there'll be anything I spot, but I might learn something for myself, because then by looking at as many bases as I can then pass that to my team as well, can't I? You know what I mean? So it's becoming that sort of centre of knowledge, I guess, that go-to guy. And I think that's one of the things I tend to find when I was T2, that if there was something that needed to be asked, some sort of question, how daft it might seem, obviously I'd get a direct message. Downside of that is possibly it promotes less forward activity in Discord, so it's just reminding the guys to be active. But even, they'd have a fantastic base defence, you know what I mean? It really went in their favour, and I'd be getting them to shout about that on the Discord, because then that promotes that, that sort of team spirit, that camaraderie, that all in it together kind of attitude, which I think is absolutely fundamental to build on to get the team really strong. So that's kind of why I've asked for these screens here, bro. And then we'll move to the next step.